Greetings, Inquisitors. Welcome to the Holocron. This is the week 196 update for the Darth Loquitur account. I update my account's progress every week, go through all the character ships, mods, Datacrons, whatever we're doing for the account so that y'all can follow along. Please remember, as we get started, do hit that like button. It helps me, helps channel. I'd appreciate it if you could do that for me. All right, so week 196, we're kind of coming out of recovery mode after relic 8 on all of these Gungans. And we did get the Padawan Obi-Wan completely farmed out of the cantina, so he's 7 stars now. We've got Tarful at gear 12. We've got Saw Gerrera here that we're going to go ahead and put some Kairos onto, and then we're just waiting on some last bits of gear to get him to gear 12, and we'll be in for this Jedi Knight Cal Kestis event. Taking up Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, just a couple gear tiers, and just gonna work on her a little bit in the background. I don't know if she'll end up being a requirement for the new Galactic Legend Ahsoka or not, but maybe she will. Working on mods here, we get a hit there to 9 speed, but then kind of stop at purple. Here we got 10 speed, we take it to gold, 15 speed mod, but we don't have any slicing materials for 6 dot mods, so we just gotta be satisfied with it there for the week. Here we get a couple misses, not getting a whole lot of speed on these mods, and now I run out of slicing materials for the lower stuff too, so pretty much going to be limited on the amount of slicing I can do from here. There we got a 20 speed mod and we had to quit. So a lot of good hits, but we're just completely out of slicing materials at this point, so we've got more slicing materials than we can use for good mods. Here I go through and I select a bunch of 1-speed mods and 2-speed mods with less speed, and I just kick those out of the account. Whenever I'm finished working on mods and I have more than 250 in inventory, I take that as my cue to look for a bunch of stuff to sell. Go through my arrow sorts and single speed sorts and all that. Put some mods on Fulcrum, then we move on to Datacrons. We're just building some more Datacrons. We're not in a Conquest week, so we've been buying some money out of the shop, but the materials that we farmed out of Conquest have pretty much run out, so there's not a lot more that we can do with Datacrons until the next round of Conquest comes up and we can start getting more things to develop that. There's some ships here that still need clicks. I've built up quite a bit of these ship Omegas, and I feel like some of these ships I can go ahead and click some final improvements on. I don't usually like putting those improvements on unless I really need them, but at this point we've got enough in the bank that I could probably do this for quite a few ships and still have plenty, so I commit to a few more ships. And then we go in here and we start Merrin out with Enfys Nest buffs to get her switched over to Tenacity to try to do better in these Night Sister matchups versus Jabba the Hutt teams. So here we end up with 1 defense set and 2 tenacity sets and a total tenacity of 220%. So that's where we're going to lock in Merrin for now. And I do go back on Nest and we use some better tenacity mods. And then when I go in to fix the mods I stole, I noticed that there was a whole bunch of characters that were missing mods. So I don't know if I ended up wrecking mods sometime during the week and just didn't fix them or what. Okay, here we got Gungans. We started out, we accidentally had an R2 in the team, so we had to kick the R2 out. But here we go. So we do some single target and just kill a character here first, because during their first round they gain so much life back that I found doing the area effects as your first skill is often not very rewarding. Here we've got the retaliation up, and we're just counterattacking in, and we're going to typically use the big area effects here on these droidica waves. So let's do the area effects, quickly clear that wave. Now we can take to the skies, we can get a buff, and in this case we'll take the buffs for our own characters. I think that's probably the weakest one for this Gungan team, and then try to quickly clear this Stap wave, but it's not going quite as quickly as I want it to, but you see we're saving these big area effects. We're trying to use the counterattacks to win this wave, and we're already up to 50% after 3 waves. These initial waves Seemed pretty hard. And here we go, and we just cleared that off in 2 hits. So we're right back around to a stab wave now. Here we take the mega hit, and we clear off the stabs pretty quickly. And again, we're going to use the counterattacks on this wave if we can to clear them. I mistime it by a little bit though, and then have to come around and wait. So you see that by the time the retaliation buff came up, it was already almost the leader's 3rd round, and he removed the buffs again. Same thing here. We use the big area effects, quickly clear the droidica wave. Now we're back to the skies, and we take this locked debuffs on all the enemy characters, and you'll see that they are enraged. So killing off that wave enraged them. So they're just taking all kinds of turns, and they're attacking into my phalanx like crazy, and I'm not getting much to do here. And then finally we'll get to start taking a few turns. We'll put the retaliation up, and we'll start clearing off some of these guys when they attack. And we just all mass assist back into them and get them killed. And then we start removing the buffs from the droidicas. There you can see we lost our phalanx. The battle's gone on long enough with them enraged that we lost our phalanx. But I did complete this with 2 waves enraged last time, so it's not too bad. Anyway, I don't know how other people experience this, but I haven't been able to complete the whole thing before enrage. The first wave takes me a while to clear, just with the timing of it. The 3rd wave takes me a little while. So like you saw, we have like 50% enrage by the time we get through those waves and get to the next one. Anyway, it gives you a little bit of an idea. That's kind of how I've settled it in on doing it. Try to use the space buffs to clear the stab waves, and let that take a little more time if it needs to. Drop the big area effects to quickly clear the droidica waves, and goes pretty well. And we have to fight the last wave enraged, but it seems okay. All right, so let's take a look at stats and go through for week 196. Galactic power 9.83. We put on about 20,000. 179 relics. Still, we didn't relic a character this week. 155 Zetas, didn't put any of those on. Omicrons are 28. Squad Arena, JMK still top 5, top 50. Fleet Arena still getting top 5 with a combination of Profundity and Chimera. JC, we're in Kyber 2, and then we're still looking at JarJar or Jedi Knight Cal Kestis for week 197, depending on who we get unlocked first. If we get JarJar, we'll do him. If we get Cal Kestis, we'll do him. If we don't get either one of them next week, then we'll just continue to save materials till we get one of them. Farming energy is going to be back in Paz Vizsla. Fleet energy, we've got everything farmed out of fleet that we want except materials. Cantina, we're going to just stick to the plan and farm up Master Qui-Gon. I think I have enough materials farmed up for that relic on JarJar or Cal Kestis, one or the other. Mods, I'm going to just farm slicing materials. We're getting pretty far behind on slicing materials compared to where we're at on mods. We got a bunch of mods that we couldn't finish slicing this week. So we'll farm up a bunch of slicing materials all next week, farm up from some 6-dot slicing materials, and just make sure that we can start getting those mods that we got a good start on and finish them out and see how they come out in the end. Planning is about the same, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis and the Gungans, then the Galactic Republic stuff for the raid, and then just a bunch of background projects that we'd love to do. So I was looking at planning, thinking, trying to figure out like what the right thing to do is for my next series of relics. And I got to thinking, when I did Lord Vader on my main account so long ago, all those many years ago, he needed really high relics, and it really took a lot. There's a big difference between relicking a team up to like 5 and 7 and then relicking a team up to 8 or 9. The amount of materials that you need for that 8 or 9, especially if you have to get the droid brains, or if you have to get like the ear to keypads and that kind of stuff, it could be either take you a long time or cost quite a bit of crystals, depending on how you're acquiring those things. So just to plan ahead, what I'm thinking is Galactic Legend Ahsoka might be another one like that, where we could be looking at very high relic levels to make her team work the way we want it to. So I imagine, like, let's say a couple relic 8s and a relic 9 on the team. And we know that we have to relic 9 snips as part of the journey. So knowing how much of a drain that was when I had to do it for Lord Vader, I'm going to start planning ahead and saving up materials for those high relics. And so kind of this is how it's affecting my planning, and maybe some things for you to think about. So I'm definitely going to prioritize making sure that next time Conquest is up, that I buy all of the signal data that's available out of hard Conquest. So we're going to do that for sure. If you're not buying signal data out of hard Conquest, it's something that you might want to consider. I know some people buy the shards to try to get the characters unlocked with the right timing, but think about buying the battle pass or something like that so that you don't have to spend all that currency. Buying that signal data is a pretty big boost. That green and blue signal data that you can buy from Conquest makes a pretty good difference in getting some of these higher relic characters. If your guild doesn't require high raid contributions, or at least doesn't require the high raid contributions yet, you don't have to go overboard on your Gungans or Queen Amidala team. I took all my stuff to Relic 8, but if your guild isn't requiring those big numbers, then you could stop at 7 or even Relic 5 and just take the right amount of participation for your situation and save some materials that way. And then, think about what I've done with some Relic 1 or Relic 3 characters where you just kind of conserve and hold off and don't spend a lot of the materials on some of these teams, like what I've done with my Sith or what I did originally with the Imperial Remnant, that kind of thing. And then you already know that Snips going to Relic 9 is a requirement, so I'm going to try to start prioritizing some resources to get her up to Relic 9 sooner rather than later. The relic priority is the same as it's been now for a while. Gungans, JarJar, when I get him, is the last one on that top of the list. Vandor, Chewbacca, and Stormtrooper Han are a couple characters that I've identified as going to like Relic 1, Relic 3, so that we can use Datacrons on the respective teams that they're going to be in. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, the Jedi for Queen Amidala team, that kind of stuff. And then we've got some more with Malgus and 50 RT that we might just take up to Relic 1 or 3, just get them started, and working on that while we're working on the higher relics for the Queen Amidala team or the Ahsoka requirements. And then we'll get to Stap, Luthen, and of course Night Trooper will be part of the requirements for Ahsoka, so we'll have to move that up the list when it's appropriate. That sums up week 196 for the Darth Loquitur account. Thank you all for hanging out and watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. I hope these thoughts help some people sort of organize their account building, and maybe sharing what I'm doing is helping you. If it is, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I appreciate hearing and seeing what you guys have to say. Please remember to hit the like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. And of course, join us over on the Discord. We've got a nice Discord community. Hope to see you over there. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next Holocron.